What's going on, everybody? Back again, Week 15 Buffalo Bills recap for you. And we are going to be breaking down one of probably the most impressive comeback games the Bills have had in a long time. Buffalo takes down New England in Foxborough 35-31. Keeps the AFC East division still in play. And like I said, man, mounted a very impressive comeback in the second half. So we'll just get into it. Buffalo, man, coming into this game, it was definitely very hyped up, more so around the New England fan base and talking heads and whatnot. About this was the game that New England was gonna take back control of the East, and the Bills' reign was over. They're dead. Brady 2.0's here. Vrabel's the next Belichick. Blah blah blah. And that was a lot of their talking points this week on social media and on podcasts and whatever. And boy, I tell you what, not only did New England come into this game off a bye, obviously had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Boy, they had a chance to really make a statement, keep themselves in the race for the number one seed. Drake May had a shot to really make his case to be the MVP this year. And boy, the first half of this game, man, it looked like they were playing with a purpose. New England, that is. They came out and they had their way with the Bills. I mean, Buffalo's defense could not stop anything. And it looked very early on that New England was playing with a purpose. They were playing for something, and Buffalo, to an extent, kind of looked like they were playing scared. Just the offensive play calling in the first half was very just not good. I mean, I've been critical, it seems like every week now, of Joe Brady's play calling. And in the first half, it was tough to watch. And the defensive side of the ball, man, I don't know what they saw on film or what they game planned, but whatever they thought, it got exposed really quick. New England got the ball to start, and it actually did look like Buffalo was going to get off the field, on that first drive and not allow New England any points. But Drake May does a bomb down the sideline to Booty, and he dives for it, makes a heck of a attempt at a catch. It's ruled a catch. It'll go down in the stat book as a catch, but replay clearly showed the ball hit the ground, helped him make the catch. But to New England's credit, they got up on the ball quick and forced Buffalo to make a decision on if they were going to challenge it or not. And Sean McDermott has a very, very, very bad track record of challenging plays, and he I don't know if that got in his head or what, but he was slow to it. New England snapped the ball, and the play stands in the sheet. So it'll go down as a long pass, and it ultimately led to New England points. And from there, it kind of just sparked their offense a bit. They at one point in the first half, or first half, they were up 21-0 on Buffalo. And boy, as a Bills fan, you're like, just not again, man. We cannot go back to the 2010s during the Brady Belichick dynasty, man. We can't live through that again. And you saw 21-0 so quick. The Bills offense, like I said, just did not have anything for them. The defense couldn't stop them. And right before half, Buffalo's able to add a touchdown cut it to 21-7. New England, still with some time left, they're able to march down. And in my opinion, they played it a little safe. I felt like they could have been real aggressive there and went for, it's obviously not a knockout punch in the first half, but they had the opportunity to put 7 up on the board before halftime, and they kind of played it conservative, settled for a field goal, and they go into halftime up 24-7. And boy, those same keyboard warriors that I was talking about earlier from the New England side, man, it was loud listening to them. They were hyping it up, man. New England's back. We're back. I mean, if you're familiar with Barstool Sports and you follow Dave Portnoy, boy, very animated. And they're demolishing the Bills. This team sucks and blah blah blah. And boy, I don't know what's said in the Buffalo Bills locker room at halftime, but for the past 2 weeks, they have come out in the second half, and it's been a totally different football team. I wish that they could do that in the pregame pep talk, but man, they came out in the second half, and it totally different football team, man. It all starts with Ray Davis on the opening kickoff return there in the third quarter, sets Buffalo up basically on the 50-yard line, short field. Buffalo's able to go on, score a touchdown, and they actually, to start the second half, they scored 4 straight touchdowns. James Cook, Josh Allen, I don't even know the words for it, man. They stepped up when the Bills needed them. And I said it last week. Josh Allen may not win MVP again this season, but he's the MVP, man. You cannot convince me there is another quarterback in this league that if you plug them into this Bills offense that they would do or get the results that Josh Allen does or gets. I mean, he's a freak, and he rises to the occasion, man. And people look and point to his playoff record, and that's so skewed and not accurate. I mean, how many times in the playoffs has the offense basically done enough against the Chiefs just to have the defense or special teams let them down? I mean, 13 seconds is your perfect example. Shoot, 2 years ago, the missed field goal. It's like, and then I think 2 years ago too, it was also the Diggs drop. And I mean, you can't point to that stuff and put it on Josh Allen. And that I know I'm getting off on a rant, but to me, he's the MVP of the league. I mean, I think now it's between him or Matt Stafford. Stafford will probably get it. He's had the more consistent season, depending on what the Rams do these last 3 weeks. But that's my take on that whole MVP race. But yeah, to get back to the Bills recap, second half, man, the offense was a totally different offense. Defense, totally different defense, man. They were shutting down the Patriots passing game, and aside from the Henderson run that was basically a broken play that he made something out of nothing, I mean, the Bills defense was just phenomenal in the second half. I honestly did not expect it at all. And they ended up with one pick off May on the crazy Tre'Davious White pick there. They should have had another one. Another ball hit Jordan Poyer right in the hands, dropped it. But man, between the rookie Maxwell Harrison, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, a lot of the guys in the secondary really stepped up, because going into this game, Buffalo was without Christian Benford, the guy that has been the spark on defense the last 2 weeks. And that was really concerning going into this game, because the first matchup, Drake May was able to really move the ball, and obviously Diggs had that crazy good game. So, it was very, very worrisome, especially how you saw the first half go, man. But shout out to those guys. They really stepped up in the second half. Shout out to Matt Milano, too, man. What a freaking game he had. He obviously hasn't been the same player since then. The injury bugs kind of bit him the last couple seasons, but have a game, man. 2 sacks. I think he ended up with 10 total tackles, maybe, I think, if I remember right. I mean, just heck of a performance. Joey Bosa was back. His presence was felt. Obviously, he comes through big there on the fourth down deflection that basically ended the game. Just a lot of guys really stepped up there in the second half. Also on the offensive side of the ball, James Cook and Josh Allen will get a lot of the love, man. But also shout out Dawson Knox, man. Back-to-back games, he has come through big time, shown up with some big touchdown catches and some big plays to move the ball. So it's I feel like in a way it's starting to click, but at the same time, man, assuming Buffalo doesn't, come back and snatch the division from New England, which it's still doable because New England still has 2 divisional games left. I don't see them losing to the Jets, but man, those Dolphins, it's in Miami, and New England in Miami, there's been a very, I wouldn't say one-sided, but man, they do not play well in Miami, especially late in the season. So that'll be interesting. And then they also have Baltimore this week. So, if New England drops one of those divisional games that Buffalo can win out, Buffalo will win the division. Or obviously if, New England squanders and loses maybe 2 of their next 3, there's that route as well. But New England definitely does not have that tough of a schedule. Buffalo, kind of in the same regard, doesn't have that tough of a schedule. They have Cleveland this week. Then they host Philadelphia, which that'll be a really big telling game for this defense. And then they close the season hosting the Jets in what could be the final game at Highmark Stadium. So, big couple weeks coming up. Like I said, it's really more for the defense, kind of a test. This week, the only thing that scares me about Cleveland is just the unknown factor. The whole Shedeur Sanders thing, man. There's obviously not a whole lot of tape to go on off of him. Buffalo has kind of struggled, it seems like, this season against newer type quarterbacks. I mean, Michael Penix Jr. is kind of a prime example there. And I don't know. I fully expect Buffalo to win. A lot of Bills fans are already chalking that one up as an easy win. And man, it's the NFL. Nothing's easy. You've got a guy on the other side of the ball, Myles Garrett, who's going for the sack record. I think he's 1.5 away, and he's going to be playing for that, obviously. And so nothing's easy, nothing's guaranteed. And then, like I said, after that, Buffalo hosts Philly. That'll be the test game. That'll be is this defense really ready for the playoffs? These last 2 games have felt like playoff games in my opinion, and both of them, they've started really slow and then they managed to come back and win at the end. That's great, that's exciting to watch, but man, that's not sustainable come playoff time. So hopefully these next 3 weeks the Bills defense can kind of come up with a better game plan and scheme, and kind of the same way with the Bills offense in some respects. Joe Brady has got to get away from these little bubble screens and these little wheel routes, man, because they're very predictable. They did a breakdown yesterday, and I mean the linebackers are basically just kind of spying that play because Buffalo runs it so much, and I've said it a few times. You'll hit on it maybe 1 out of every 10 plays. But Joe Brady loves them. He'll call them about 5, 6, 7 times a game. I mean, shoot, he called one yesterday on a drive that Buffalo could have put the game away, and rather than come up with some kind of a Josh Allen designed run or some kind of a scheme to maybe Shakir on a slant or something to Dawson Knox, who was having a good game. We go with the damn bubble screen, man, and New England was ready for it, and our defense had to step up and stop New England. Luckily they did, but it's kind of just stuff like that, man. It's got to get cleaned up come playoff time, and these next 3 weeks, perfect time to do it. Like I said, we have Cleveland and the Jets on the schedule, and then obviously, like I said, the big tester in Philly. So don't know what the future holds in that respect, man, but you gotta love December football. You gotta love the battle for the playoffs. People starting to clinch now. You know, the Broncos are in. I believe they clinched yesterday, so they're probably looking at the 1 seed unless they start to squander it a little bit. But yeah, that's wild to me, man. Wild. This was not the way the season I had in my mind. That's not the way that I saw it going, but it's the NFL. Stuff happens. So before we get out of here, though, we'll shout out Patrick Mahomes. You know, obviously big thorn in the side of the Bills over the years, but hate to see anybody go down with injury. So well wishes to him, speedy recovery. Look forward to hopefully playing them again next year. And also Michael Parsons. Can't talk today. Micah Parsons, same deal. Both down with ACL tears. So shout out to those guys, 2 ballers. So we'll get out of here, man. Buffalo moves to 10-4 on the season. Like I said, 1 game back of New England in the division. Division still in play. Gonna need some help to get there, man, but we're alive. Not dead yet. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. We will see y'all next week post Cleveland. So yeah, talk to you then. Go Bills.